The forbidden encounter. The spaceship shook hard as it crash-landed on the glowing surface of planet Zalari. Smoke rose from the wreck. Inside, a young human named Ryan Cole slowly opened his eyes. His body ached, his suit was torn, and his helmet cracked. His emergency pod had been off course. He was supposed to land at a trade outpost, but something went wrong. Ryan pushed open the hatch and stepped out. The air smelled strange but breathable. Purple trees swayed gently, and golden grass tickled his boots. It almost looked peaceful, until he saw the high silver towers rising in the distance. A massive dome stretched across the landscape. He didn't know it yet, but he had landed inside the Zalari Female Academy, a place where no male of any species was allowed. Inside the academy, 3 alien girls were on cleaning duty in the outer gardens. All 3 were tall, elegant, and covered in shimmering patterns that changed color with mood. Valari, the most curious one, had violet skin and bright blue eyes. Tassa had green scales and a calm, serious face. Mira, the youngest, had glowing freckles and always smiled until today. Valari stopped suddenly. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. Tassa nodded. "A crash. Nearby. Let's check it." The girls followed the smoke trail cautiously. They crept through the tall grass until they reached the edge of the clearing, and there, standing under the strange earth sun, was something they had never seen before. A male. A real, living, breathing male. And he was human. Ryan turned when he heard the rustling. He raised his hands slowly. "I'm not here to fight," he said, unsure if they understood him. The girls gasped. Valari stepped forward, studying him, like he was some wild creature. "He's so soft," she whispered. "Where are his scales?" Mira blinked. Is that his face skin? So smooth." "He has hair on his head," Tassa added. "But not on his arms?" They had never seen a male in person. Zalari males were rare and lived far away, but this human was completely different. He didn't have claws, no sharp teeth, no tail, and his eyes looked kind. Valari couldn't stop staring. "What species is he? Look at his chest. That's not armor, it's his body." Ryan frowned. He didn't understand their words, but their tone wasn't angry. They were surprised, curious. Slowly, Valari reached out. Her hand touched the side of his arm where the fabric was torn. She touched bare skin. She jumped back. "It's warm," she gasped. "Like real flesh." Mira couldn't hold herself back. "I want to see more. What's under this?" She gently touched the edge of his shirt. Ryan laughed nervously. "You guys really don't know what a shirt is, huh?" Valari tilted her head. Did he just speak Zalari? Tassa's eyes widened. "No way. Do you understand us?" Ryan nodded. "Yes, a little. My translator chip works, I think." All 3 girls went silent. This was forbidden. Their academy didn't allow outside males, especially not off-world aliens. This human could get them all expelled, or worse. "Where did you come from?" Valari asked. "My ship crashed," Ryan replied. "I didn't mean to land here, just need help." Tassa took a step back. "We can't help him. If anyone finds out—" "But he's alone," Mira said. "Look at him, he's scared." "I'm not scared," Ryan replied, though he clearly was. Valari turned to the others. "We can't leave him here. At least not in the open. Someone will see him." "Are you suggesting we hide him?" Tassa whispered, shocked. Valari looked at Ryan again. His human face, bruised and tired, somehow made her feel something she didn't understand. "Yes," she said. "Just for tonight, in the old observatory. No one goes there anymore." Ryan gave a small smile. "Thanks. Whatever you're saying, I think it's a good thing." The girls smiled awkwardly. They didn't fully trust him yet, but they were drawn to him. Not just because he was strange, but because he was different. As they walked toward the observatory, hiding Ryan under a long cloak, the girls whispered among themselves. "Did you see his arms?" Mira said. "Yes," Valari replied. "So firm, but no scales, just skin." "And his eyes," Tassa added. "So deep, like he's hiding pain." "He's not like our males," Valari said softly. "There's something more." None of them noticed the drone camera blinking faintly in the bushes. They were being watched, and someone in the academy had just discovered the forbidden encounter. Why is he built like that? The old observatory was dusty and dark, hidden deep, behind vines and broken tech panels. No one had used it in years, not since the academy moved all astronomy classes to the main tower. That made it the perfect hiding place for Ryan. Valari opened the heavy door and guided him inside. "Stay quiet," she said. "We'll bring food later. You're safe here. For now." Ryan nodded and sat down on a pile of old blankets. His body was sore and his side hurt where he had landed hard. But more than pain, he felt nervous. These alien girls, strange, beautiful, and unlike any species he had met, were helping him. But why? Back in their dorm, the three girls couldn't stop whispering. "His skin, it's too smooth, too soft," Mira said, still amazed. "He has no tail," Valari added. "No heat glands, no spines. He's completely different." Tassa opened a datapad and typed in what she remembered. "I checked the archives. He's from a species called human, from a planet called Earth. Very far from here." Mira leaned in. "What do they say?" Tassa scrolled through. "Bipedal, warm-blooded, intelligent, advanced technology, known to be emotional, unpredictable, and dangerous in battle." Mira blinked. "He didn't look dangerous. He looked hurt." Valari nodded. "But did you see the muscles under his skin? Even without armor, his body looks strong." "And the way he looked at me," Mira whispered, "like he was seeing more than just my shape." Tassa frowned. "That's what scares me. What if he's hiding something?" Valari hesitated. "Or maybe he's just lost, like us." Back in the observatory, Ryan looked around the old equipment. Telescopes, broken hollow discs, star maps. He found a dry piece of cloth and wiped his face. The small wound on his cheek had stopped bleeding. Just then, the door creaked. Valari stepped in, holding a tray. Alien fruit, some bread, and a flask of water. "I brought food," she said, setting it down. "Thanks," Ryan said with a tired smile. "Didn't think aliens would be so kind." Valari sat on a bench across from him. She watched as he ate, studying every motion. "Your body, it's strange," she said softly. "No claws, no natural armor. How do you survive?" Ryan chewed slowly and shrugged. "Brains, mostly. Tools. Teamwork." She tilted her head. "So, you're smart?" "I try." She leaned forward. "What are those lines on your stomach called? I saw them under your torn suit." Ryan laughed, a little. "Those are called abs." "Abs," she repeated. "They look like armor." He chuckled. "Not armor, just muscle." Valari's eyes sparkled. "So your body is soft but strong?" Ryan nodded. "Exactly." She stood up and reached for his arm. "May I?" He held still. Her hand touched his bicep. Her face turned deep purple, a blush in her species. "Incredible," she whispered. Just then, the door opened again. Mira and Tassa stepped in. "You brought food without us?" Mira teased. Tassa crossed her arms. "We shouldn't stay long. If we're caught," Valari interrupted. "He's not dangerous. He's just different." Mira walked up and poked Ryan's shoulder. "What's this part called?" Ryan grinned. "That's my shoulder." She poked again. "So soft, but warm, like a living blanket." Ryan rolled his eyes. "Is this going to become a science class?" Tassa pulled out her pad. "I have more questions," Do humans reproduce like us? Where do your offspring come from? How do you choose mates? Ryan almost choked on the fruit. Valari smirked. See? Told you she'd ask that. Ryan cleared his throat. That's kind of private. But we want to know, Mira said excitedly. Our males look so different, yours. You have balance, shape, and symmetry. And hair, Tassa added. Why do you have it only on your head? Ryan shrugged. No idea. Fashion, maybe. Or evolution. Valari leaned closer. So you don't have spines or fins? Nope. Do human females look like you? Mira asked. Ryan nodded. Sort of. Softer faces, longer hair. But yeah, same basic shape. Tassa typed rapidly. I must study this more. Suddenly, a deep alarm echoed faintly in the distance. The girls froze. That's the patrol alarm, Mira said. Tassa's face turned serious. Someone may have seen us leave the dorm. Valari turned to Ryan. Stay inside. Hide if anyone comes. We'll be back as soon as it's safe. Ryan stood up. Wait. Thank you. For everything. Valari smiled. Don't thank us yet, human. This is just the beginning. As the door shut behind them, Ryan looked out the small observatory window. 3 alien girls, 3 complete strangers, and, yet, they cared. He didn't understand why. But something told him, this strange meeting would change everything. We're not allowed to see this. The next morning, Valari snuck into the observatory before sunrise. The air was cool and the sky still dark blue. She quietly stepped inside and found Ryan fast asleep, curled on a pile of old blankets, using a folded jacket as a pillow. She stared for a moment, her heart thudding in a strange rhythm. His face was peaceful, no horns, no breathing gills, just plain skin, stubble on his chin and gentle lines under his eyes. So different. So human. Then he moved. Valari jumped, startled, and Ryan opened his eyes. You're back, he said softly, rubbing his face. Did I oversleep? You're safe, she whispered. But you can't stay long. The matrons are alert. Drones are scanning the outer fields. He sat up slowly. So, I'm being hunted now? She gave a faint smile. You always were. From the moment we saw you. Back at the dorm, Mira sat on her bed holding something tight in her hand. It was a tiny hollow recorder, secretly activated the night before. She stared at the small glowing image of Ryan's exposed stomach, zooming in and tilting it from different angles. Look at this, she whispered. Tassa looked over her shoulder. You recorded him? Mira nodded. I couldn't help it. We're students of biology, aren't we? He's not a subject, Tassa said, snatching the recorder. This is already too far. We're not allowed to see a male's body like this, not from any species, and especially not to record it. I didn't mean harm, Mira said. It's just, have you ever seen symmetry like that? Every muscle in perfect place, like sculpture, but alive. Tassa sighed. If the matrons see this and will be expelled, or worse. Valari entered just then, holding a cloth-wrapped package. He's hungry again. I brought him food. You went again without us? Mira asked, clearly jealous. He trusts me more, Valari replied. And I trust him. Tassa frowned. You're getting too close. That night, the 3 girls returned together. Ryan was waiting by the dusty star map wall. He smiled when they entered. Didn't think you'd all come this time. We had questions, Mira said quickly. Serious ones. Tassa opened her datapad again. We want to know about human pairing. You said you reproduce with emotional bonds. What does that mean? Ryan rubbed the back of his neck. Well, humans often choose one mate. It's called love. Valari raised an eyebrow. You bond for life? Sometimes, Ryan said. Sometimes not. But real love, it's about trust, care, loyalty. Mira sat down across from him. So if a female chooses a human, it's not about power or strength? No, Ryan said. It's about who makes her feel safe. Valari's heart fluttered. She didn't know why. Tassa narrowed her eyes. And what does the human body do when it feels that connection? Ryan hesitated, blushing a little. It reacts physically, emotionally. We're very sensitive to touch. Mira crawled closer. So if I touched you? No, Valari said sharply, stepping between them. Stop, he's not a toy. Mira looked away, embarrassed. Ryan stood. I don't mind answering questions, but this feels strange now. Tassa closed her pad. He's right. We crossed a line. Just then a mechanical beep echoed. The girls froze. A small black device on the wall, blinking red. A drone? Valari whispered. How long has it been recording? Ryan stepped forward, pulling off the casing. His eyes widened. It's a surveillance drone. Someone placed it here on purpose. That means, Mira started. They know, Tassa finished. Someone in the academy knows he's here. Valari's voice trembled. We need to move him tonight. They raced under moonlight, hiding in shadows and ducking through tunnels. Ryan followed close, limping a little, but not complaining. The girls led him through a forgotten hallway that led beneath the learning chambers. This place, Valari said, is the old archives. Abandoned. They won't check here. They reached a hidden room. Dusty. Cold. But safe for now. Ryan sat down, breathing hard. I didn't mean to cause trouble. You didn't, Valari said, kneeling beside him. We chose this. But why, he asked. Why risk so much for someone you just met? Valari hesitated, then answered softly. Because you made us feel something no male here ever did. You looked at us like we were people, not just female bodies. Mira and Tassa nodded slowly. Ryan looked down. I don't know what happens next. Valari smiled gently. Neither do we. But none of them noticed the small light blinking again, deeper in the shadows. Someone else was watching. And this time, they weren't going to stay silent. Caught and judged. Morning came too fast. In the hidden archive room, Ryan woke to whispers and footsteps. He blinked in the dim light and sat up quickly. Valari stood guard at the entrance while Mira checked the old vents. Tassa pressed her ear to the metal wall. We were followed, Tassa whispered. I heard something last night. Clicks, metal sounds. They found us? Ryan asked, his voice tight. Valari didn't answer. Instead, the door burst open. 6 tall figures in silver robes stormed in. Their faces were hidden behind black masks. In their hands, shock rods and plasma cuffs, the disciplined matrons had arrived. Step away from the specimen, one of them barked. He's not a specimen, Valari shouted, shielding Ryan. Another matron grabbed her arm. You violated the code of purity. You touched a male outsider. You brought him into sacred space. Ryan stood up, fists clenched. Leave them alone. I came here by accident. This is my fault. You are an invader, one of the matrons said coldly. And you, she turned to Mira and Tassa, are guilty of indecent contact with a foreign male. This is punishable by expulsion. Stop, Valari screamed. He didn't hurt us. He's not dangerous. A rod struck her side. She cried out and collapsed. Valari! Ryan yelled, running to her. Another rod hit him square in the chest. He fell hard, breath knocked from his lungs. They were dragged through the corridors, hands bound behind them. Students stared as they passed. Some gasped. Others whispered. The 3 girls and Ryan were brought to the judgment hall, a place older than the academy itself. Pillars of glowing crystal lined the walls. In the center, a raised platform held the council of elders, all women, all ancient, all watching with emotionless eyes. The head elder stood. The head, her voice echoed in the hall. You are charged with bringing shame to this institution, with hiding a male, with touching him, studying him, defending him. Valari raised her head. Her lip was bleeding. We did it to protect him. He needed help. The elder's eyes narrowed. He is an unknown species. His body could carry infection. His mind could be dangerous. His presence threatens everything we are. Mira spoke next. He never hurt us. We asked the questions, we stayed, we were curious. Isn't curiosity our academy's first law? The hall went silent. Then the elder pointed at Ryan. You. Speak. Ryan stood slowly. He looked small before the massive council, but his voice was steady. I crashed here by mistake. I didn't ask for help, but your students gave it anyway. They showed compassion. That's not weakness. That's courage, one of the council members hissed. You infected their minds. You made them disobey. You must be removed. Valari shouted, No, don't touch him. Silence. A matron snapped. The elder raised her hand. He will be examined, studied, his biology recorded, then he will be handed to the planetary enforcers. No, Mira cried. You can't, Tassa added. Ryan turned to them. It's okay. I'll face this. I won't let you be punished. For me. But Valari stepped forward. No, she said. We're not ashamed. We saw something no class ever showed us. We saw kindness. We saw trust. We saw a man who looked at us not like property but like equals. Gasps echoed in the room. The elder frowned. Enough. But Valari wasn't done. If caring for someone is a crime, then I accept my punishment. But if you punish him, then everything this academy stands for is a lie. There was silence. Then the elder spoke again. Your bond to him, is it real? Valari paused, then nodded. Yes. And the others? Tassa looked at Ryan, then gave a slow nod. Mira smiled sadly. We didn't mean to. But yes, the elder looked at Ryan. Human, she said. You have disrupted this place. You've turned students into rebels. Why? Ryan exhaled. Because I didn't come here to change anything. I just didn't want to be alone. For a moment, the elder said nothing. Then she turned to the guards. Take him. Lock him in the isolation chamber. The tribunal will vote tomorrow. Ryan was pulled away. Valari screamed. Mira wept. Tassa fell to her knees. As the doors slammed, shut behind him, Ryan looked back one last time. At the three girls who risked everything for him. The escape plan. The isolation chamber was cold, silent, and made of smooth stone. No windows. No light. Just a narrow beam from the ceiling that hummed faintly. Ryan sat on the floor, his wrists still bruised from the plasma cuffs. He had nothing but his thoughts. He replayed their faces in his mind, Valari's fierce eyes, Tassa's worried frown, Mira's shaky smile. They had helped him without asking anything in return. Now they were probably locked away too. Or worse. They risked everything, he whispered. For me, he clenched his fists. I won't let it end like this. Elsewhere in the academy, hidden deep in the lower chambers, Valari paced in a cell. They separated us, she muttered. They're trying to break us. Tassa sat silently, staring at the wall. They think we're weak. That we'll obey. Mira gripped the edge of her cot. We should have done more. We should have run sooner. Valari turned to them both. No, it's not over. We still have time. Tassa looked up. What are you thinking? Valari's voice lowered to a whisper. I know a way out. Back. When she was younger, Valari had sneaked into the archives many times. There was an old ventilation system, narrow, forgotten, but still working. It connected to the lower guard chambers and the old medical bay. If we reach the bay, she said, we can reroute the doors and find Ryan. But the guards, Mira started. We'll distract them, Tassa said, standing now. We each play a role, Valari smiled. For him, they whispered together. Night fell. In the guard chamber, a quiet alarm buzzed. One matron leaned toward her screen. Power fluctuation in Sector 9, she muttered. Probably the storm. The other guard yawned. But they didn't see the small shadow slip through the floor vent behind them. Valari dropped down into the storage room. Tassa came next, landing silently. Mira followed, clutching a stolen passcode stick. They moved fast, weaving through the halls, avoiding cameras, ducking into shadowed corners. Every step brought them closer to the isolation chamber. Finally, they reached it. The door was heavy, sealed with a biolock. Mira slid the passcode stick into the panel. "I stole it from my warden," she said. "Pray it still works." The light blinked red, then green. Door unlocked. It slid open with a soft hiss. Ryan blinked at the sudden light. For a moment, he thought he was hallucinating. But then Valari ran in and dropped to her knees. "Ryan! Valari?" He stood stunned. She reached for his hands. "We don't have time. We're getting you out." Tassa rushed to the control panel. "The council will check on him at sunrise. We have maybe 1 hour." Ryan stared at them, breathless. "You came back for me?" "Of course we did," Mira said. "You'd do the same," Ryan laughed. "You barely know me." Valari helped him stand. "We know enough." They ran through the service tunnels. Ryan moved slower now, limping from his earlier beating, but he refused to stop. The girls stayed close, guiding him at every corner. But as they reached the outer hatch, footsteps echoed behind them. "Matron Patrol!" Mira shouted. Valari spun around. "Keep going. I'll stop them." "No," Ryan shouted, grabbing her hand. "We go together." Tassa looked around. "There's a backup exit, this way." They raced into a narrow shaft, crawling for several meters until a soft breeze touched their faces. Light. Freedom. The hatch opened into the forest beyond the academy dome. They stepped out, blinking under the stars. They were free. For now. They camped in the trees just beyond sensor range. Ryan sat beside a fire, warming his hands. Mira handed him fruit. Tassa checked the surroundings. Valari sat beside him. "You're shivering," she said softly. "I'm fine," Ryan replied. She wrapped a thin blanket around his shoulders. "We don't know what will happen tomorrow, but you're not alone anymore." He looked at her, voice trembling. "Why are you doing this?" "Because we saw you," Valari said. "Not just your body, not just your difference, but your heart. That's what they don't understand." Ryan looked at all 3 girls. "You risked your lives." Mira grinned. "We're students. Breaking rules is part of the learning." They all laughed. But in the distance, drone lights flickered. The hunt wasn't over, and the escape was only the beginning. Trust was broken. The fire had burned low by dawn. Ryan leaned against a tree, his breath visible in the cold morning air. Valari sat beside him, arms crossed tightly, eyes scanning the shadows. Mira and Tassa were asleep, curled under dried leaves and emergency blankets. None of them had slept well. Ryan whispered, "How long before they catch up?" Valari's voice was quiet. "Maybe hours, maybe less." Ryan nodded. "We need to move soon." Valari didn't reply. Her eyes were distant. Ryan turned to her. "What's wrong?" She looked at him for a long moment, then finally said, "Someone betrayed us." The signs were small at first. The drone that found them in the observatory had a student tag. The matrons arrived too fast, too ready, and the route they used to escape, once known only to Valari, had already been half-sealed. Someone had told. Mira stirred awake and rubbed her eyes. "Did we sleep too long?" Tassa yawned. "We should be deeper in the forest by now." Valari stood and faced them. "One of us gave the matrons our location." Silence. Ryan sat up straighter. "You think—" "One of you?" Mira gasped. "You think it was me?" "I didn't say names," Valari said coldly, "but someone knew things only we shared." Tassa narrowed her eyes. "You're not thinking clearly. We all escaped together." Ryan stepped between them. "We can't turn on each other. Not now." But the tension had already grown. The trust that had kept them together was cracking. They packed quickly and started moving again deeper into the alien forest. Strange plants glowed dimly around them, and floating spores danced like dust in the wind. Ryan struggled with his limp but refused to slow down. Valari walked ahead, silent. Mira stayed in the back, eyes lowered. Tassa walked beside Ryan. She's angry. She doesn't mean it. Ryan sighed. Maybe she's right. Maybe someone did say something. Tassa stopped walking. Do you trust us? He looked at her. I want to, he said. She smiled sadly. That's the problem with humans, isn't it? Your hearts are too soft. Ryan looked away. They reached a rocky outcrop just before sunset. Below them was an old watchtower, abandoned long ago by Academy scouts. They climbed inside and set up camp. Valari still hadn't spoken to anyone. Ryan finally sat next to her. You saved my life, he said. And now we're lost in the forest, running, starving, hunted, and tearing each other apart. I didn't ask for thanks, she replied. But I need to say it. She looked at him then, her eyes softer. You confuse me, human, she said. You don't fight, you don't take, you just give. Ryan chuckled. That's called being decent. Valari touched his arm. Is that what makes humans different? Not your body, but your heart? Ryan nodded. Maybe. She smiled. But outside the tower, hidden under a bush, a small transmitter blinked again. Hours later, Mira slipped away while the others slept. She walked quietly, holding something in her hand, a broken communicator. She stopped near the edge of a cliff and whispered, I told you where he was. I gave you the location. Why didn't you come? Silence. No signal. She looked down at the device, tears in her eyes. I just wanted safety, she whispered. I didn't know they'd hurt him. Suddenly, a branch snapped behind her. Valari stood there. You, Valari whispered. Mira dropped the communicator. It's not what you think. You gave them our location, the observatory, the tunnel, everything. Mira backed away. They promised me we'd all be spared if I gave them a path. I didn't know they'd punish us. Valari stepped forward, furious. You sold us out. I was scared. Valari raised her hand, but Ryan appeared behind her. Stop, she turned, breathing hard. Ryan looked at Mira. You betrayed us? Mira dropped to her knees. I didn't want to. I just wanted to stay at the academy. I didn't want to be expelled. Ryan crouched beside her. You made a mistake, but we're not dead, because the rest of us still believed. Valari clenched, her jaw. We can't trust her. Ryan looked at both of them. If we lose each other now, they've already won. They returned to the tower, silent. Tassa didn't ask what happened. That night, no one really slept. The wind howled through the broken windows, and in the darkness, something deeper than fear crept into their hearts. Doubt. But Ryan stayed awake, the longest, staring at the stars, because even in betrayal, he still believed in them. Now they know what he is. The tower stood silent under the moonlight. Cold wind whistled through cracks in the stone. Inside, Ryan sat by the dim fire, staring into the flames. His thoughts were heavy. Valari hadn't spoken since the truth about Mira came out. Tassa watched everyone quietly. Mira, though ashamed, hadn't tried to run again. No one did. They had nowhere left to go. Suddenly, the silence broke. Boom! A distant explosion echoed through the forest. Trees lit up, birds scattered. Tassa rushed to the window. They're coming, Mira gasped. Already? Valari stood slowly. They found us. Ryan rose to his feet. Then we stand together. 10 minutes later, the matrons arrived. Their airship hovered above the tower, shining blinding lights. Downward. Dozens of guards in silver armor surrounded the base. The lead matron's voice boomed from a speaker. Surrender the human and no harm will come to you. Valari grabbed Ryan's hand. They're lying. Tassa pulled out a small shock flare. We won't survive a direct fight. Ryan looked around. Maybe we don't have to fight. Mira frowned. What then? He took a breath. Let me speak to them. Valari stepped forward. No, I'm not afraid, Ryan said. Not anymore. Ryan walked out of the tower ruins with his hands raised. Wind pushed his hair back. Dust swirled around him. The matrons lowered their weapons, but didn't fire. He stepped into the open and shouted, I'm not your enemy. The lead matron floated down from the ship. Her mask reflected his face. You are not welcome here, human. Your body, your mind, your presence corrupts our kind. Ryan spoke clearly. Then tell me, why did your students save me? Why? Did they risk everything if I'm a monster? The matron paused. Because they are weak, easily influenced. No, Ryan said firmly. Because they saw something you've forgotten. Compassion. He stepped closer. You think strength is silence, that showing care is failure. But real strength, true strength, is choosing to protect what's different. The crowd of guards shifted slightly. Some exchanged glances. Your body, the matron said, is strange to us. Alien. Our science cannot explain you. Ryan nodded. That's the point. I'm not like you, but that doesn't make me dangerous. Suddenly, the tower doors burst open. Valari, Tassa, and Mira stood at the top of the steps, unafraid. Valari shouted, We saw his body. We touched his skin. We listened to his heart. And we're still here. The matron turned. You admit this? Tassa called out. We do. Mira stepped forward. Because he showed us what no lesson ever did. Silence fell across the clearing. Then something unexpected happened. One of the younger guards removed her mask. Her face showed no anger, only wonder. I want to know too, she said softly. What makes him human? Another matron shouted, Silence, soldier! But the spark had begun. A few other guards hesitated. One lowered her weapon. Another whispered to her sister. The lead matron turned to Ryan, furious. You've infected them. Ryan raised his voice. No, I reminded them what it means to feel, to choose, to believe in someone who is not like them. Suddenly, the matron drew her shock rod and pointed it at Ryan. This ends now, Valerie screamed. No, she ran down the stairs, shielded Ryan with her body. The rod struck. She cried out and fell into Ryan's arms. Mira and Tassa rushed forward. Ryan looked at the matron, his eyes full of rage. You call me the danger, he whispered, cradling Valari. But you're the one who fears change. Then slowly every guard, one by one, lowered their weapons. Even the captain of the airship stepped down. This is not the way, she said quietly. Let him go. Let them choose. Hours later, the forest was quiet again. The guards had left. The matrons had been overruled. The council would meet again to rewrite the old laws. Ryan sat beside Valari under a tall, glowing tree. She opened her eyes slowly. You're safe, he said softly. She smiled. You stood in the open. You changed their minds. No, he said. You changed their hearts. Tassa and Mira approached, arms full of fruit and supplies. We're going back to the academy, Tassa said. They want to hear your story, Ryan. Not just his, Mira added. Our story. Valari sat up slowly. They know what he is now. Ryan looked around at the girls, each one different, yet standing together. Yeah, he said, and they finally understand. The end.